Welcome. I'm Danielle Sally.
And I'm Eva Fusa.
And you're listening to Ghost Boss, stories about the freelance afterlife. Hey, Ghosty.
Hey.
How are you, Eva?
I just want to say this has been our fastest soundtrack to date.
I feel like we actually knew what we were doing.
Hold on.
Don't get excited.
Calm down. But the clock thing on this fancy board with buttons that I don't...
Board of buttons.
That's a technical term. Now it says 3 minutes and 4 seconds. That includes the sound check.
Okay.
And the amount of time it took me to plug in.
All right. I like it. And Gene from SoCo, I'm assuming it's Gene, put in some new lights, some new equipment in here. So like things that could have thrown us off, but have only enhanced the experience.
This is how unoriented I am to all of this stuff.
You didn't even notice?
Nope.
I came in here and I was like,
ooh,
at it.
Yeah.
There's a new light.
Yeah, you squeaked at it. We love it. You're doing great.
Awesome.
I showed up with a dead laptop.
You did. You might not have remembered we were recording.
I was on time today.
Oh, love it.
So you get one or the other.
Yeah, it's one of those saying like, pick three.
Right.
Exactly.
You can't have it all. Calm down. It's a Friday.
Not at all.
So anyways.
So we are excited because we haven't been in the studio for a while. That's pretty much the month of November.
Right. Y'all wouldn't know that because we timed out our recordings otherwise.
Yes.
But we have not recorded in like a month. And today is like the perfect day to record because two very important things happened this week.
What were they?
Well, first off, I'm going to do it in the opposite order. No. Yeah, the opposite order of how we're going to talk about it.
Yes.
The Pantone Color of the Year was announced.
Yes. And we have
notes. And I don't know if they're the notes that you think we're going to have.
No.
But we have notes.
Yeah. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
And also Spotify Wrapped finally came out this week.
Yeah. I need to talk about this.
Okay. Why don't you open? She's already, I had to tell her to stop sassing so we could record.
I get it. When there's...
Here's the Aries.
Anytime something like trends quickly and then consumes social media and takes over, my gut reaction is get frustrated by it.
You sound fun right now.
I'm a ball of fun. But so Spotify Wrap came out. I genuinely I had never really looked at mine until most recent years because I don't listen to much, as we know from the first episode of this podcast ever created. And I really just listen to the same artists over and over and over. So I pretty much am going to know who my top 5 are.
Yeah.
But I was surprised because I text Eva and our friend Whitney.
That's right.
We got our little boobays.
My favorite part of that group chat is the first time we named it, and I was like, I love the name, and Whitney said, say it out loud. I was like, oh no, I did.
No, we did.
I get
That's
it.
why we love it.
I get the joke. It's funny.
But like most women, we're in a group text of 3.
That's right.
And I was surprised.
I have 3 group texts of 3 women.
Oh, I've got multiple.
Yeah. Y'all are my fire sign group chat.
Oh, and it's lit.
Yeah, we got a Sagittarius and Aquarius and me, my little baby Pisces. I got another one with 2 Cancers and a Pisces.
So
it's a vibe.
There is another fire sign in there. And I thought for sure I'm not going to be the only one that thinks this. But I said, I genuinely do not care about anyone else's rap. So I tend to just be off of social media that day.
So
because it's just a sea of all the same graphics.
It is.
And I was shocked because you and Whitney said, no.
Oh, I love it.
I actually care what people listen to.
Absolutely.
Why?
Well, it depends.
Okay.
Sometimes I want to judge.
Well, fair. I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was surprised how many of my friends, Taylor Swift was number 1. I don't know why I was surprised by that.
Okay.
I also love Taylor. No issues with Taylor. She's not on mine. It's fine.
Sure.
But I do enjoy her music. It's just not what I'm listening to when I'm working.
Sure.
But I was surprised how many it was number 1 on.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was really that was my only takeaway.
It's a little bit of judgment. It's a little bit. So when I do my Spotify Wrapped every year, I didn't use Spotify for a long time. I didn't like.
So same. That was why I never really got into it.
I didn't like their UX on their phone for a very long time. They were a lot better out as a desktop app. And back then, so I've also started listening to a lot
It
more.
is still better as a desktop app.
It
I'm
is.
going to throw that out there.
But the phone UX is much better than it used to be. And I used to do a lot more audiobooks. We talked a lot about this last season.
Yes.
I haven't done as many audiobooks this year for different reasons. So I've been listening to a lot more music. So I've done my Spotify Wrapped for the last couple of years. I genuinely never know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Well, and I'm not surprised though, because I'm
all over the place.
You were shocked when I had said that I had listened to, shocker. Sophie Tucker was number 1 for mine.
Right.
And probably by top 5 songs.
And I didn't know who that was.
It's all I listened to.
Fine. I like my Spotify Wrapped because I really am like, I have no idea.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I was surprised this year who my number 1 artist was. Last year it was...
Who was yours?
This year?
Yeah.
Dom Dalla.
Okay.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah. He's really?
Well, the Sophie Tucker perform with them. Maybe we'll find out.
Well, they're both EDM artists.
Well, then I should. Well, okay. So also I will admit I'm the type, I'll listen to music and then no earthly idea who the name of the artist is.
Oh,
I'm horrible at that.
I know who the artist is, but I've always been like this. I'll get into a genre and I'll like 1 or 2 artists in there, but like the algorithm or a person will say, oh, you like blah, blah, blah. So you must like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I don't. And I don't know why, because they're similar.
Yeah.
But I don't know why, like, I really like one over the other.
Sure.
But part of what's interesting is I get real fixated and I'll get like into a vibe for like a few weeks.
Yeah.
And that throws off my Spotify Wrapped every year. So last year, my number 1 artist was Young Gravy.
Yeah.
And so then I click on his profile. How many songs did I like by Young Gravy? 1. I just listened to it a lot last summer.
Yeah.
Right.
So maybe like 3 times.
Right. So I find Spotify Wrapped like really interesting for me. But then also like, I like to see what my friends are up to. And like my favorite ones are when it's a bunch of artists that I've never heard of, because I grew up, I was like a little scene girl for a long time, like going to shows and all that kind of stuff. And like nothing was more obnoxious than talking to somebody and asking them like what their favorite artist was. And
you're going to say my favorites.
No. They would say, I mean, you've never heard of them.
Oh,
has anybody ever done that to you?
Of course.
Oh my God.
I know that exact person in high school.
Spoiler alert, they graduate high school and they're still milling about now.
They're still like that.
So, and like, it's cool if you're into stuff that I'm not into. I've never met anybody that has an exact overlap with my musical taste, partially because I think my musical taste is pretty like varied.
Right.
And that's cool. And so, and then I'll talk to people about what they listen to and then I discover new stuff. But anyways, there is no real litmus test of you've probably never heard of them, then you're Spotify Wrapped, sir. Right. Because if you've done you've probably never heard of them to me. And then like I see like Taylor Swift is on your top 5. Like we just Boo Bear. We
Instant
need to unpack.
Judgment.
We need to unpack, right? And so a little bit of it is that because it's just the data, right? It's just the numbers.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But no, I
know what I
find it interesting.
The only thing I really look at, I kind of just don't pay much attention to the artist or the music, but then I get into where it says how many minutes they've listened.
Oh yeah,
because I'm so curious.
To mine. Yeah,
I'm so curious because some people are so high.
What was your number?
Mine was like, it was under 3,000. It was 2,800 something, and everyone else's is like astronomical.
I was in the 0.3% of listeners, 64,000 minutes.
Also, just going to say totally on brand for both of us.
Right. Well, and so that's the thing. Like my audiobook consumption went down significantly this year, but one of the days I'd have to look it up, but one of the days it was like you listen to Spotify the most on this particular day. Yeah. And then like it gives it to you in minutes. And then I did the math and it was like 10 hours.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. So yeah, that it tracks. I'm tracking somewhere differently now, but yeah, I don't know.
So exciting.
I like it. And then it's interesting because they do their whole thing. And then so now like everybody's trying to do like the Wrapped equivalent.
Well, and that's where I just got off social that day because everyone instantly is like, all right, how quickly can we copy the graphics and make our own version of the Wrap? And then Instagram was just a flood, which is so cool for Spotify. Honestly,
yeah.
Truthfully, the only reason I started using Spotify because I was like, kind of want to see what my data looks like, right?
Yeah.
So well played,
yes.
Spotify.
Well, I don't mind the kind of knockoff ones that like
some people are really good.
That's cool. And then like Audible has one coming.
Yeah.
That's fine. That makes sense. They always do like a wrap up email. Yeah. But the one that killed me, Danielle.
Oh, what was it?
I signed into Asana this morning.
No, I don't need that. I don't need
literally.
That. I don't need it.
Literally.
I don't need it.
It says like your Asana year and blah, blah, blah. It's like
actually, I say I don't need it. I would like to maybe see it. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I do. How many tasks did I get done? That sounds exciting.
I actually run most of my stuff through Asana.
Yeah.
So like,
never mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I have task for task.
No. I have 1,000 Post-it notes.
I would like to see that.
This. But I think sometimes like some of these more corporate vibes, like just need to like let it
calm down.
Yeah, just let it be, man.
Just let it be.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So no, I love a Spotify Wrapped.
I do.
If you didn't post yours, send it to me.
Actually, I will send mine directly to you. I don't need to share it with the world, but I'll send it directly to you and you can judge me for it. Let's see if there's anyone new on there that you haven't heard of.
Probably.
That'd be fun.
Are you just going to send me your top 5?
I'll send you. I'll figure it out.
You can send me
whatever data you want. I'll send it.
You can send me your top 100 list, like as a playlist.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You'll have to send me where that is. I don't know if I have 100.
You do?
No, do I? It's probably the same artist.
You've listened to more than 100 songs this year.
Probably. Actually,
So like something you listen to once.
To be fair, probably the only reason is because Peloton and Spotify are partners. So every time I like a song on Peloton, it automatically gets added to my Spotify. So because of Peloton, I probably do.
Yes. Okay, before we move on, I want to say one more thing about Spotify. Okay. Which I thought everybody knew this, but I shared this playlist with a couple people like over the weekend, and so many people didn't know about this.
What is it?
Two things. Spotify will make you these custom playlists if you just put in the search bar, like certain things. So like one is on repeat. So it'll play whatever your most on repeated top, I think it's 25 songs are.
Well, I just need that playlist.
So literally, I discovered it.
I am on repeat.
Literally, I discovered it, I don't know, earlier this year.
Yeah.
And I really like it because what would happen is I would get into a few songs, I would listen to them over and over again, and then I'd have to like search through to find them because I don't make playlists. It just takes too much time. And so my on repeat playlist like ended up perfect. And it's interesting because like I'll get into a song like over a week. I figured out when the algorithm updates because if I get really into something on a Saturday,
you're really into this.
It'll be on repeat like by Monday morning. But if I get into it like Tuesday or Wednesday, I got to maintain the momentum for a couple of days because it won't hit again until Monday.
Interesting.
I think it's Monday. It's Sunday or Monday.
Fascinating.
So put in on repeat in the search bar.
I am going to look that up.
It'll make you a custom one.
Actually seems like something
it's cool. I like it a lot. And then you can also put in My Life is a Movie, and it will make you a custom soundtrack for like if you were the main character and your life was a movie.
Huh.
It's interesting. That's not as like, I don't know. Sometimes I look at some of the stuff. I'm like, huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
but I get it.
A robot's perspective of you.
I mean, I get that. Like, they're like, I don't know. She probably listened to a lot of Modest Mouse at some point in her life.
Sometime.
And, and I did. So it makes sense. But anyway, so go check out your on repeat. I am. Your on repeat. It's like you're Wrapped, but like more of a time capsule.
Yeah.
And then it'll bring you another playlist like a few weeks later called your Repeat Rewind. And so it's stuff that was on your on repeat and it fell off. So like there'll be stuff on there that I was really into like in June and July. It's on repeat.
Oh, okay.
Rewind. So those I find really cool.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
So shall we?
Now we can move on.
Dive into the subject today?
Yes.
Because it is also on the same theme of end of the year wraps and making predictions for the next year.
That's right.
As all designers know.
Yes.
Pantone comes out with the color of the year.
They do now.
Yes.
They didn't always.
I think, did it start in 2011?
I think so. So yeah. I was thinking a lot about this morning driving in, and we'll get into all of this, but like, I think the color of the year is a really interesting way where Pantone has positioned itself in like the common pop culture like discussion space.
Yeah.
Whereas Pantone for the longest time was only something you knew if you were a designer or in a designer adjacent position or profession.
Fair.
Like printing or like market, like you'd probably heard of it, but like you think an accountant, I'm always like dumping on
I
the
know, the
accountants
poor
in there.
accountants. All the accountants listening to
No.
our freelance podcast.
But do you think an accountant knew what the Pantone color of the year was? Or do you think
a Pantone book?
What a Pantone book was or a Pantone color was like 15 years ago, but now they're like in the New York Times comment section letting us know.
I mean, everyone has an opinion.
That's right.
And it's fine, but...
It's fine. Your opinion's fine, but it's wrong.
We feel your opinion's wrong. A lot of people are hating on Pantone's 2025 Color of the Year Mocha Mousse.
I wore
You wore it.
dress.
I was going to.
Yes.
And my one brown shirt that I really enjoy was in the laundry. So I wore a color that you could use in a palette with Mocha Mousse.
So yesterday I posted a picture. So first off, when you see the social clip of this can be my social clip.
Okay.
When you see the social clip of this and you know me personally, you're going to ask this question. Does Eva own another dress?
And the answer is
yes, but this is my favorite dress.
I do the same thing.
It's like the on repeat playlist on Spotify.
We probably, this is episode 13 of this season.
13, 14,
and I think
like
I've worn the same bodysuit for half the episode.
But it's black. So
you don't know.
You don't know.
Except for the fact I just told you.
Well,
that's fine.
Yesterday I posted a comment about the color of the year. And I was like, I have been obsessed with this dress for the last couple of months, and kind of made a joke about did I know? Haha, whatever. And then when I went to go find pictures, I was like, there are so many pictures of me in this dress.
Tons.
People are going to think I don't own another garment. And
It's fine.
do.
It looks great.
Thank you. You did tell me I look good when I got out of the car.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm wearing my brown dress.
Your Mocha Mousse brown
It's not
dress.
mocha. It's darker. It's a much darker
yes,
tone.
it is darker.
This is more mocha, I would argue.
So
But mousse makes it a lighter color.
I feel like...
All right, let's unpack.
First off, I agree with the color. I love the color.
Yeah.
I think it's very versatile.
Mm-hmm.
Way more versatile than people give it credit for.
Sure.
I mentioned on social I was excited for neutral trends, and I was called out for being a millennial. Guess what?
It's not gray, but it's not gray.
I am. It's fine. We like neutrals. It's okay.
Well, but here's the thing. This is my thought. I thought about this a lot, and we decided to do this, and then I thought about it some more.
Well, I think I thought about it more because my opinion was the opposite of the majority that were commenting on Pantone.
Well, that's why I'm not gonna talk about it in my comments, but I am going to talk about it here where nobody can yell at me.
That's right.
Yeah. In my opinion, there's a lot of reasons why I think it was a good choice.
Yes.
One of the biggest reasons why I think it was a good choice is because Pantone Color of the Year, you need to go big or go home, right? We got to do it. We got to make a statement. And in this hyper digital, oversaturated world where 99.99999% of what you and I work on ends up on a screen.
Yep.
And so what are we constantly doing? Bumping the contrast, deepening palettes, brightening palettes, making it stop the scroll, stand out more, all this kind of stuff. So their options were to go, hot pink.
Yeah.
Or go neutral. And so I think going on the opposite end of the spectrum I think it is interesting because I would argue that I think more people are having conversations about the Pantone Color of the Year now than they probably have in the past.
I agree.
With the exception of maybe 2011 and when they literally picked the millennial gray and yellow bubble necklace palette that we all wore to work in 2007.
And I would also add to that, I feel like there's a lot of non-designers that are commenting more than any other year it feels like, right?
Yes, I agree.
I mean, people that are never going to get a Pantone book ever.
No, they don't know what it is. Well, and also that shade of neutral I thought was interesting because neutrals are not always easy to work with, right?
Yeah.
And so to pick a brown and to pick a brown with depth and warmth and versatility to
That's
it.
the thing. It was like
it's a warm brown.
Yes.
And it's not an ugly brown.
No.
It's browns can go ugly real fast. We're designers. We know that.
We know.
I think it too gives a little bit of a nod to quiet luxury. And I know, do you know what I'm saying?
Well, because look at all the very high luxury trending brands right now.
Right.
Most of them are using this shade or shades around it.
Correct.
All using neutral trends. I can just think of a bazillion off the top of my head that are already in this space. It is a very high luxury type of shade.
Right. Right. And I think too about if you think of like high-end like handbags, the more expensive they get, the more inconspicuous they get. Right. So like on the, and like designer handbags, luxury, all that, like that's a very wide range.
Yes.
But like on the lower end, you see a lot of stuff with like heavy monogramming and high contrast monogramming that you can see from across the room because you want to make a statement with that. And that's perfectly fine. But like, if you ask somebody who doesn't know anything about bags to pick out a Birkin bag, they're going to have no idea. Even though that's like an incredibly expensive bag. Yeah. And so I think like, I like the color because it nods a little bit to quiet luxury in that sense. And then that makes me think of other fashion trends that I see right now. Whenever, like, I really want some clients to let me start doing this stuff with their like promotional items and their merch, because I always want to look at what's happening in high fashion and how that trickles down into like athletic fashion. Yeah. So what you see right now, a lot of is a black hat with a black embroidered logo on it, or a black shirt without even black ink printed on it. It's just like, you know, a high gloss clear coat on it. And it, you have to be like right up on somebody to read the brand. Yeah. That is also a nod to like quieting your brand. And this softer, more muted color, I think harkens to a way of saying like, hi, we can talk about things without screaming at you. And that's visually what it's representing.
I mean, we are normally going to scream at you, but colors don't.
But I'm going to do it in a neutral dress. Because I can't be in hot pink and be loud.
No, and you can wear a red lip. It's fine.
Because I got to give you something. I got to give you something.
A pop of color.
But yeah, so I think it's cool. I think it's cool. I know people want to, but also any color they picked.
Any color they picked would have got hated on.
Oh, yeah.
And also, I will say there's previous colors that I have not been happy about.
Let's unpack that.
Well, but before we unpack that, just before we get off of brown.
Brown. Don't drop your voice. Brown. Don't do that. No.
I really feel like part of all the hate, there was almost more hate towards the video than the color itself.
I don't love the video.
I think the video is what took people thinking of it more than just color, like what they're associating it with, right? And like mousse doesn't really translate too well on screen.
So I agree. I don't love the video.
Yeah.
Mousse, the actual food, the video got the right texture. However, mousse as a concept actually feels a lot more smoother to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Mocha Mousse to me makes me think of like silky texture. And so I do feel like the video was a missed opportunity.
I agree.
And it's a classic example of things that you and I experience. Presentation and execution is so much where it is. I think the color's great. But to your point, I think the video is where it fell short.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think, had they done a different video, I still think, of course, the public's going to have an opinion. It would still be, but I do think the video kind of led to more of that, of negative comments.
Right.
So it's just interesting.
I shared a still of the swatch, not the video.
See? Yeah.
I don't like the video. I don't. I think the texture's weird. It also looks too,
It got a lot of heat for people assuming it was all AI generated.
So that's what I was about to say. So I don't want to say it looks too AI because AI in what you and I actually do day to day is different than what people conceive as AI. Like if you use the generative fill function in Photoshop, you're using AI. If you use the subject select feature in Photoshop, you're using AI. Right? If you use the patchwork tool, you're using AI. Right. So I'm not going to say no AI was used in it.
Yeah, there could have been some.
I think there's some. Yes. I also think a lot of it, just based on the brand and the reputation they have and their relationship with creatives, I think most of that was actually done by a person with some AI contributions for sure. But one of the things I don't like about a lot of the AI stuff now is it's almost got this sheen to it. Yeah. It's so shiny. And so.
Well, and you notice anything AI, like any kind of video, what the calling card is kind of, always has a blurred background.
Right.
Always. Because it's very smoothed out.
Right. But what frustrates me is that all that stuff I just said about picking a neutral, really breaking through the conversation and like breaking this digital wall that we're all in and really like making a space in this hypersaturated world was deterred by the fact that then you packaged it in this shiny, glossy AI feeling video.
Yeah, AI or not, that is how it felt.
It's got the sheen. So maybe it's not an AI sheen to it, but it's got a hyper digital sheen to it. And so I feel like I would have loved to see a video that gave real texture and gave real, that would show softness without muting.
Yeah.
Which is something that is hard to do, but we've all done it, figured out a way to show that. And so dressing it up so shiny, I feel like it loses what I love about it.
Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah. But I love the color. I'm excited to see all the partnerships and collabs. And that's another thing too. 10 years ago when they started doing it, 15 years ago, however long ago, they started doing Pantone Color of the Year. Their early collabs and partnerships were with like pretty like clear-cut partners, right? So we're going to make a coffee mug. Yeah. We're going to make a notebook with moleskin. That's going to sell to I've had so many of them. Yeah. That's going to sell to so many designers, right? We're going to partner with Sharpie, right? Like that makes sense. But like picking a neutral like this is now opens them up to being able to partner with like higher end things and not just like luxury goods, but like I don't know that I would have bought a piece of furniture in that coral color a few years ago. I liked it, but like they are doing some like furnishing partnerships and more than just like a $50 ruggable, right? So I think it's cool. And I think it's forward thinking and innovative. I feel like I'm on a talk show now.
All of it.
But yeah, I think it's interesting.
Well, I feel like you're the only one that agrees with me. But
about this, not about Spotify rap. No, everybody else on the same page that we both like rap.
Brown. I keep saying it low like that brown. So I'm going to go through and name out. Actually, let's do this. I'm going to name out past colors of the year. Yeah. And if you recall your reaction when it came out, let's hear it. And then we'll rapid fire this. Okay.
We're going to start from the top.
All right. So I'm going to work my way down. Right. 2024, Peach Fuzz.
I didn't like it. I partially didn't like the name.
Yeah.
Peach Fuzz.
So that's what, even this year with Mocha Mousse, I was like, man, if they would have just picked like the next shade over and not have mousse in it. Right.
But Peach Fuzz, it was the opposite. Well, so they went lighter with that, but it was lighter that I didn't feel like have the same depth and warmth. It didn't seem like it was actually going to translate that well.
Yeah. What's funny, I love a neutral. I love a bold color.
Yeah.
I can't stand a pastel.
That's what I'm saying. Like I want one or the other.
Pastels make me mad.
Well, they don't make me mad, but yeah, I think maybe perhaps there were some lessons learned between a pastel and a true neutral.
Okay, so far we are in agreement with color. Look at us. So weird. Okay, so 2023. Yeah. Viva Magenta.
I'm going to have to look at which one was that one. Oh. It was fine. It was a little too brown for me to be called a magenta.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was a little rusty, like a little. Yeah. I didn't like some of the interpretation of it, but it was a little.
I feel like I don't even recall what my reaction was. I think I was probably the same where it's just like, okay, well, so that's fine.
Red is my favorite color, like all shades of red. But like I gravitate towards like the cranberry kind of spaces, burgundy in there. And that magenta was much more of a burgundy than a true magenta.
That's fair. Yeah.
And I understand that their target audience isn't necessarily designers, but the M in magenta is hot pink. So like I also had I got beef with what you call it, man.
No, that's fair.
I got beef with what you call it.
All right. 2022.
Is it blue?
Very Perry. It is like a periwinkle blue.
Oh, purple.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Again, yeah.
It was fine.
It's okay. It's fine.
It was fine.
Okay, 2021. Mm-hmm. A combo year.
Oh God, I didn't like it. Was combo years.
A yellow and gray. Here's the deal.
What was your thoughts? Because I have a sentence for it.
I actually don't care for when they do combos. Mm-hmm. I think that kind of takes away from. I don't know.
It's not the
for
color.
For me, I want one color.
Right.
And I was fine with the yellow. I don't know. I felt like it kind of made a statement with the gray. I don't even remember if we said it recording or not. It's very millennial.
It was
right.
It was us. Oof, my aching almost.
Your aching came out.
Might keep that in. I saw a video of this woman who's a designer on TikTok when it came out, which I can't believe we've been on TikTok that long, but we won't be for much longer. R.I.P. And she goes, "What in the millennial chevron bubble necklace peplum? It's going on
all
here."
The things,
and that's what got me about it, because it would be the same as picking navy blue and mint. That was a very trendy color combination like 5 years prior. And so it didn't feel on trend.
Yeah. Like, honestly, if had they gone just one or the other, I think I would have been better. But because they combined it, that's what really threw me off.
I don't love the combo years, although the other year they did a combo. I liked that combination together. It'll come up.
We'll get into it.
Yep.
Okay. So 2020.
It was that deep blue.
Yep.
I bought
classic blue.
I bought a bunch of stuff in the blue.
I like that year. I felt like it was right for that time. It felt right.
I like a lot of blues, but I like more like blue greens.
Yeah.
Kind of in that space.
And I was like, you know what?
I like
I appreciate it. Kind of like this year. I appreciate that they went with a classic.
Well, not only that, they could have gone navy, and they didn't. And they didn't do royal blue.
Nope.
I had a lot of stuff in that blue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I like that,
2019. I have a personal reason I love this one. Living Coral.
I liked the coral.
The reason I love this one, I was back when Eva was my client.
That's right. Hey.
We were doing a rebrand for her company, and I had picked this
part of my company,
part of your company, and I had picked a blue and a coral. Mm-hmm. Not this exact coral, but so close. Mm-hmm. And it was right. It was maybe like a couple months before this came out.
Yeah.
And then we were like, we did it. We did it. So I remember just being like, yeah, we picked right.
I liked it. I went to Adobe Max that year, and they did something really cool around the launch. They so when coral dies, it's going to get a little sad here, but stick with me. I know when coral dies, before it dies, it like turns this really bright color, and then it turns white. Yeah. And so they were handing out these color swatches of the colors that coral would turn before it dies, is like an awareness campaign.
Oh my God.
They were the prettiest colors, though. It was this bright blue, this bright purple, and this bright like yellow. And I had them on my laptop forever. And then I got a new laptop, and RIP those cool stickers. Yeah. And so it was I think it was 2019.
There you go.
Yeah, it was right before the pandemic. So 2019. So people would ask me about it, and I had to tell them a sad story about dying coral in Australia. But I liked the living coral. It felt cool.
All right, 2018. Ultraviolet.
I don't remember that year, and I like purples.
Again, another year that was like, okay, we'll deal with this.
Yeah, sure.
All right, 2017. Greenery.
I didn't like it because a couple years earlier they'd done another green, and the greens were too similar.
Exactly.
It was too similar.
You were in my brain with all this. It's kind of wild because we never agree on anything. Yeah, but I feel like this next one we might disagree. Aww. 2016, the combo year. Rose Quartz and Serenity.
So I liked it because they did a lot of partnerships with retail spaces. Yeah. And there was some cool applications with that. Yeah. They did a partnership with Sephora. Like they did a partnership with a couple different brands. And it makes a nice gradient. I love a nice gradient. I do feel like the tones match.
It as a gradient. Yeah. I'm just not into the pastels. I don't know.
I'll take those as pastels.
Those are fine.
But I'm not going to wear them, right? Like,
oh, no. I, in general, don't wear a rose.
Oh my God, you think I would have spat on her grave?
No, God, no. All right. 2015, Marsala.
It looked like dried blood. I said what I said.
It does. Accurate. Moving on. 2014 was Radiant Orchid.
I don't remember much about that year, although I like that shade of purple. It's fine.
Yeah. Again,
it was good.
Yeah. And fine. I think actually thinking about it, I think 2015, I think I recall thinking I kind of wish it wasn't. I mean, it's not close to it, but it's kind of wish it was more different. But, I don't know why they pick what they do. 2013, I loved this one.
I loved the emerald year. It was realistically the first year that I started paying attention to the Pantone Color of the Year.
You know what? Truthfully, because looking at the next 3, Emerald's when I started paying attention.
Well, part of it's because they started doing consumer-facing partnerships. So I have several, and I mean several, reusable bags from Lowe's in the Pantone Emerald color.
There you go.
Yeah. With the swatch, like the logo and the swatch on it.
And then I'll just fly through the next 3 because we don't really know them. 2012 was Tangerine Tango, which is, they haven't ventured into orange since then.
I have notes on this. So one time I was watching Project Runway.
Ooh, I do a lot. So
right. And there was this woman who people in general found dramatic, but you're on Project Runway. So
we want you to be dramatic.
So she goes and buys this fabric and she's doing her interview about it. And she's like, it's this beautiful blood orange. And it's just so sensual and just going on and on and on and on. And they cut to one of the other contestants and he goes, it's red. So that's what makes me think about Tangerine Tango. It's orange.
Is it orange or red?
It's orange.
Yeah, it is.
It's orange, but
I thought because I said a second ago, it's orange.
It's orange, but to call that tangerine, I don't think that's tangerine.
It's not tangerine.
And I don't know why it's tangoing.
Because that brings in the heat of the red. I don't know. No idea.
So I think about that now. I also think about that lady every time I buy a blood orange because they are my favorite citrus. So it's just actually
I love it.
A circumstance I'm in relatively often.
All right. 2011 was honeysuckle.
Pass. I don't remember that, but gross.
I'm glad I wasn't into it then. And then it seems like this was the first one, 2010, turquoise.
I don't remember that. When I say I like turquoise and blue green, I mean deeper tones than that because I like jewel tones.
Yeah.
I'm a deep winter.
Yeah.
My color palette.
There we go.
Yeah. So it's a little light for me, but I
don't mind it.
I don't mind it. It's all right. Better than Tangerine Tango.
Yeah. So I'm just going to say I hated a lot more on 2024 Peach Fuzz than I'm going to hate on Mocha Mousse. And I need everyone to calm down.
Calm down. Now, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's boring. It's not boring.
It's not.
So I think, and I mean, this is a very specific designer perspective. I think if somebody were to give me the same scope, right? But you have to do a version and your only brand color is hot pink. And then you have to do a version and your only brand color is Mocha Mousse.
Yeah.
Right. I would find more challenge in a good way in doing Mocha Mousse because you don't get to just lean on the color.
Yeah.
And I know that may sound strange if you're not a designer, the color of the year, you should lean on the color. I'm no, actually, picking a color that gives more breathing room lets the application really shine. Except for that terrible video that they put up.
No, the video was...
I mean, maybe it's not terrible, but it's just not great.
I feel like it was louder than the color.
Yeah. I am excited. Sure. Maybe I need to find out if Mocha Mousse is the right color of my coffee.
There we go.
Right?
I'm going to do a comparison.
Yeah.
As I have my coffee right here.
I already have my coffee.
Logos on this.
So yeah, that's our thoughts.
Those are our opinions.
Yep.
And if you agree with us, you're right. And if you don't, you're wrong.
That's right.
Sorry. That's just how it works here.
It's our podcast. If you disagree, start your own. I don't know what to tell you.
And we won't listen.
We will not. We will not.
All right. Well, that's all we have today. I'd say we'd love to hear your thoughts. It kind of depends on what your thoughts are. But hit us up on Instagram or LinkedIn or YouTube at Ghost Boss Podcast. I don't know if I want to hear your opinions. No.
I do want you to send me your Spotify Wrapped or your top 100.
Yeah, send us those.
Songs.
We do want to judge
cool.
you.
But yeah, no, I like the Mocha Mousse. You're seeming I've already been in a neutral girly phase.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll buy another dress in this color.
I looked. I've been looking. I can't find. Yesterday or 2 days ago, I bought a black and white striped dress.
Oh, there you go.
I was very proud of myself because it's not a black dress.
Yeah.
I understand that half of it is black.
Yeah, you posted it. I was like, well, half is, but I'm going to let her live in this moment.
It's not the bottom half is black.
No, you're fine.
I do it.
And with that, we'll be back next week.
Talk to y'all then.
Bye.
Remember to follow us on Instagram at Ghost Boss Podcast. And also please like and review us on your favorite podcast app.